Steve's not here tonight, but we do have two special guests. We've got the most important special guest is Daniel Tijerina. He's going to talk to us about why he's important, and there's a ton of reasons why. And then we have this other thing. I'm not exactly sure what to call it, but it's black and white and fuzzy, and there's nothing in the head but foam. And underneath there, it looks something like a human being.
It's me.
It's Steve.
It is me.
Dang. Well,
you'll get it later.
He was better looking with the thing on his head.
Very much so.
Of course, we'd all.
How's everybody doing today?
Yeah, I hope everybody's well. I'm good.
We got Diddy with us. So welcome, Diddy, and explain where you got the nickname Diddy.
So where
Just so we know,
you have to have initials. So when you're talking to someone, you just say your initials. So mine is Papa Delta PD. So everyone just starts calling me Diddy.
Yeah, so he's
P. Diddy.
He's too humble to tell you that he's got people's lives in his hands all day long, directing jet aircraft through the air so they don't run into each other.
That's true.
And you've been doing this a long time.
27 years.
Yeah.
Any more info, and he'd have to kill you.
Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that.
Don't tell us the secrets. Hey, Mahoy. Hey, Bill. How you doing? All right, yeah. So we've got Diddy with us today, and we met probably maybe 8 or 9 years ago.
2010.
Is it 10? Okay,
yeah.
So it was that long ago.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was through Keith Carlson, and many people out there in this audience know who Keith Carlson is. And Keith was also a controller for quite a long time, and I told the story about meeting Keith, but then that's kind of how you got into, like, some people might be asking, well, why is this guy here? Who is this P. Diddy, and why is he here?
You're about to find out.
You're about to find out. So, yeah, you could tell us the story about what got you into moto craziness.
I've always wanted to ride motorcycles, but I never knew anybody who had a motorcycle or could help me teach me. So Keith had just started buying dirt bikes along with you, and you guys would fix them up and flip them.
So you came late to the motorcycle party.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I was 32.
Yeah.
I was kind of late to it as well. I mean,
that's
just
true.
A couple of years before you,
yeah.
I bought my first, that Dream over there.
Yeah.
So, the Dream 305. So yes.
Yeah. I was pretty late. And so I said, hey, Keith, can you show me how to ride a bike? He's like, I don't know. So then we were talking.
He knew you a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't ride one of mine, but I can show you.
That's when he started to build the street bikes too. Yep. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to ask Steve Hoy if we could borrow his little pit bike. And I was like, okay. So this was
Natalie's bike, by
the
way.
Yeah. It was October.
A little TTR 125 is what it was.
It was small, but
which was terrific for that.
It's actually a perfect learning bike. Hey, John.
So
hey, how you feeling, John? I hope you're all right. Mending. For those of you that don't know, he was a victim of a hit and run on 34th and Shadeland. Broke some bones, wrecked his Vespa. So he's laid up for a while.
All right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Glad to see you.
Think a good thought for John.
So we were talking, and he's like, well, let me go get Steve's little pit bike, and we'll take you around the Lowe's parking lot. And it was October, cold. So we come over here, and I think you give me the elbow pads, the knee pads,
I think
and
we
the helmet. We have me all like bundled up just in case.
Look like you were ready for a hockey match.
Yeah, just in case. So we go out the Lowe's parking lot, and he puts me on the bike. He's like, all right, this is the clutch, this is the brake, this is the gas. I just want you to get used to like braking, clutching. I said, okay. So I was like going, and it would like buck. He's like, all right, just get a little bit more. So
a little more gas.
Yeah, a little more. So about an hour and a half, we were out there, and I was like leaning because I used to ride mountain bikes. Oh, so on the mountain bikes, you like lean.
It's a good start.
Kind of the same way.
Yeah.
So I was like leaning. He's like, man, you're picking up pretty good. So I was like leaning and having fun. He's like, all right, don't go too crazy now. we don't want to hurt you. So that was my first time that I've ever rode was a little pit bike.
That's cool.
Then almost immediately you had a serious challenge.
Yeah. So the next day he's like, I'll tell you what, I got a bike I'm fixing. How about you come to my house and then we'll go riding? And it was,
what was it?
750, I think. It was a bigger bike.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a bigger bike. And
okay.
He's like, if you drop it, it's
Keith's
okay because because I'm just gonna fix it. I was like, okay. So I go to his house the next day, and he's like, all right, here's the bike, and it was a bigger bike. I'm like, oh man, this is kind of big.
Intimidating.
Yeah, it is.
But
He's
you
like,
felt like you'd learned something in the prior,
oh yeah,
clutch, brake, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all he had me do is stop, clutch, brake, go, stop, clutch, brake, go, turn left, turn right. They said most people have hard times turning right, I think he said, but I just,
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get at his house and he puts me on this big bike, kind of like this thing back here. And he said, all right, take off and just go around the neighborhood. See how you feel. I'm like, okay. So I take off and
In his neighborhood?
in his neighborhood. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's like a residential area with a, 2-lane street, and that's it.
Yeah. Just to get used to the
Not a
clutch
lot
again.
of traffic, sidewalks, stuff like that.
When in doubt, gas it. That's right, Ren. How you doing?
That's what she says. She learned that from somebody who's gassed it so many times he's been on his head.
So I get on the bike, take off. I push in the clutch to go into second gear, and the clutch lever breaks and falls on the ground.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Uh-oh.
So I'm just
Going along.
Yeah, just going along. I'm like, okay, I don't want to brake because I don't know
Gotta go in
what's going to happen.
circles.
Yeah. So there's a stop sign coming, and I have to turn left to go back to Keith's house. So I'm like going kind of slow, and it's starting to sputter. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I put a little gas, no one coming,
When in doubt.
turn left, and then Keith's on the driveway. And I go back. Keith said, Keith,
As you're
the
going
thing's
by.
broke. Yeah. Keith, the thing's broke. And he's like,
Uh-oh.
waving at me. I'm like,
He thought you were going,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm down with
yeah.
this.
so I'm like, so I turned left again, go around again. I said, it's broke. And then he gets on a bike and he follows me. And he says, what's, I said, the clutch lever, the thing.
gone.
Yeah, it's not,
What
it's
the
not
heck?
there. It
Hey,
broke off.
Dusty.
So he's like, all right, I'll tell you what to do. Just turn it off. I'm like, what's going to happen? He's like, I don't know. Just hold on.
Every bike is different when you do that.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
So he's like, just hold on and
Hold
don't
on.
press on the brake.
Stay
Just
straight.
let it do its thing. Like, okay. So he gets beside me and I kind of slow down and I turn it off and it just came
Just
to a dead
putters.
stop. Yeah. So he's like, all right, let's just kind of limp it back and I'll put a new clutch lever on it.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. So that was the second time.
Oh, man.
Keith might have sawed that clutch lever in half just on purpose. Just to see what you did in a
Well,
time of
Yeah.
stress.
Now that we know Keith.
Yeah.
Keith doesn't do anything halfway.
No.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
yeah. So,
That's true. That's true.
so he fixed the clutch lever and then we go off and he's like, twisties. I'm like, dude, I'm just like my second day. Let's take it a little bit slower. And of course, Keith is way out there and he
Oh, yeah.
slows down waiting
He's
for
gone.
me. Yeah. But no, it was fun.
That's cool. So then the next step takes you to wanting to get your own bike eventually.
Yeah. So after, I wanted to take the motorcycle course, and they were all booked for like 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy says, just show up, and if no one shows up, you're in the class. I said, okay. So Keith gives me a motorcycle, dirt bike helmet, dirt bike lenses, and he says, all right, go to the motorcycle course. So I go there and I sit in the class and there's 2 people that aren't there. So I'm sitting there and he's like, well, if they don't show up in the next 10 minutes, you have the class.
Nice.
And
So-
was that at Dryer or was that at the old location?
It was up in Carmel. There's
okay.
one in Carmel.
Okay.
So
They ride better bikes there.
so I went there and no one showed up. So luckily I was able to stay in the class, and there they teach you on a little 250 Nighthawk.
Right.
So,
Great bike to learn on.
oh yeah, great bike.
Yeah.
So I took the class and I was doing pretty good. And then so me and Keith are at work and I'm like, hey man, I'm ready to buy a bike now. And of course I have to go ask my wife
It's
because
like- it's like,
she's half
honey?
of what I own. So she doesn't want me to ride a bike because she was in an accident when she was younger.
A motorcycle
Okay.
accident.
Yeah, she was in a motorcycle accident.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she's like super scared of them. And she's
Hey,
like,
John. Yeah.
I don't want you to get one. I'm like, no, it'll be okay. Keith said it's okay.
He said it's all right. Yeah. yeah.
So
Yeah. Easy
found-
authority.
we found one in Ohio, like 8 hours away. The guy wanted like $1,200 for a CB or a 250 Nighthawk. And what
Oh,
happened
that's
was,
right.
So you
I
bought
forgot
what you
about
you
that.
bought what you rode in
Yeah,
class.
yeah,
I
That's a
forgot
really
about
smart
that.
move,
Yeah,
actually.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
yeah, because Keith's like, look, I know you're going to get bored of it in like 2 or 3 months, but you just need something that if you drop it, you're not going to be like, oh man, I paid
Yeah.
$6,000 for it.
Right.
Right. And you were familiar with it already.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not going to like go super fast.
No.
So Keith's like, all right, let's take a road trip. I'm like, okay. So we take a road trip, 8 hours. And the guy was just like me. His wife wanted to learn how to ride. and she dropped
Yep.
it in the driveway.
Yep.
And never rode it again.
That happens a lot.
It had like 120 miles on it.
Oh my.
So it was really low miles.
I forgot that it was that new.
Yeah,
It's been a
the guy
while.
bought it. He bought him and his wife brand new motorcycles, and
Okay.
of course she dropped it and didn't want to. So we drove it back, and on the way back, Keith found a bike that he wanted to flip. So we stopped and picked up a
Of
bike.
course.
So we
He
had
was
2 bikes
shopping
in
for
the
that
back.
the night before,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
great, man. That's great. Oh, so then you upgraded from that to the Triumph,
Triumph Thruxton. Yeah.
the Thruxton,
So I got.
and that's a little bit of a jump actually, because the Thruxton is a little bit of
It's a
it's a
900.
bigger bike, and
Yeah.
it's a fairly top heavy bike for,
It's top
for
heavy.
what it is.
It's a heavy
Yeah.
bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like for you? What did you find easy and what did you find difficult?
I liked that it could actually pick up speed in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
And I could
That's
keep up
always
with
Nice
traffic.
to have the extra
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was kind of scary was how heavy it was. Like super, like turning. It was definitely a lot top heavy.
Yeah.
And the turning radius really wasn't as good as
Yeah.
the Nighthawk.
You probably weighed
It's a-
twice as much as
Oh,
the
yeah,
Nighthawk.
Or
yeah.
3. It's
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit of a pig.
Yeah. And even Keith said, man, the turning radius isn't really good on this thing.
Yeah.
But
The faster you go, the better it is.
Oh,
the smoother
yeah,
it
yeah,
is,
yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
yeah, it was bought it at I forget where I bought it at, but
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna find the picture of that bike if I can. Is this
Yep,
is
that's
this
it
right there?
right there, yeah.
Okay, there it is, guys.
yeah,
That's
my,
It's really good looking.
yeah, I love that bike. It was so
that's
much
his
fun.
second bike. That actually went to a friend of mine from high school.
Yep.
Dawn Carmichael. I don't know if she still has it, but
I remember her coming to the shop on it.
Yep.
Yep.
yep,
I remember that.
exactly. She transitioned from sport bike to that as she was getting older and not wanting to ride the sport bike as much, the sport bike position as much, even though this is still a little aggressive.
Yeah, that one you don't lean
Yeah.
forward as much.
Yep.
But that bike, we went to Deals Gap, and
Yep.
I almost. So this is another thing, chasing you guys, which go so much faster.
I don't think
than
I
me.
went when you had the Thruxton though. My first year, I think, was you with your
that's
your
right.
third bike.
You
Yeah.
go with
So
the
is-
Grom?
No, it was me, Keith, another guy we work with, his brother, and his brother's son.
Yep.
So they're so much quicker than me, and they're more, they know more about.
You were new.
motorcycles.
You were
Still,
still
yeah.
relatively
Yeah,
new.
literally, I have been riding for maybe a year.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
"Hey, we're gonna go to
And
Deals
it's
Gap."
Deals
Deals
Gap.
Gap.
Yeah, he's like, "We're gonna go to
Right.
Deals Gap." I'm like, "Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know what that is."
Yeah.
So we trailer the motorcycles, and we're going through Deals Gap. I'm like, Keith, this doesn't look fun to me right now. He's
No.
like, no, it'll be good. It'll be good.
You just got to go
You're all
slow.
puckered
Yeah.
up.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think it was the last day, and we were like, all right, let's just do as much as we can. And we're going around a turn, and to turn, you got to like push down on
Right.
the handlebar. That
Yep.
way you can lean more.
Push on the bar
Well,
and lean.
I was getting close to the edge, and I got
Uh-oh.
scared.
Uh-oh.
So I pushed the brake, and I almost went over the cliff.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go really slow now.
Not
So,
good. We're slowing
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
That
I
would have
think we
changed
all-
your relationship with doing it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
We all have our moment down. My first time down there, I had a little bit of a moment just on our way from Robbinsville to the Gap.
Uh-huh.
I was following Steve Starr.
Oh,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
worst
yeah.
part.
Hard thing to do.
And we
Yeah.
were ripping some long sweeping turns, and I actually went a little wide on one. I
Yeah.
came into it a little fast, and it was a little bit of a butt pucker moment.
Oh, yeah.
And I went off into the gravel part of the right side of the pavement.
Mhm.
And almost into the grass, and I stood up. My dirt bike skills kicked
Yeah,
in, and I
see-
stood up, and I was able to work my way out of that because it could have been pretty bad.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we haven't done this yet, but I'm going to give you a prelude. My wife is going to be on this show before long, and she's got some terrific stories about crashing
bet.
motorcycles.
I'll
So
bet.
you just have to listen to it.
Looking forward to it, Ren. Let's see what kind of comment we have here. Oh, it's just Ron Mahoy. Sorry about that.
So my daughter's
We'll go back.
my daughter's doing some work, and she's in Hawaii right now,
Oh, wow.
but she's rented a motorcycle, and she rented a Triumph Street Twin, which is
Oh, those are
Oh,
nice.
essentially
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Thruxton with higher bars.
Yeah.
Nice.
And she loved it.
Yeah. They're great bikes.
And I think she's gonna lean that direction. But she couldn't keep it for as long as she wanted to,
Mhm.
so she had to go back and change bikes. And the bike that they gave her, the second bike, was an 883 iron. It's like
Okay.
not even close to the same thing. But I
Well-
think she's gonna get along okay with it. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, for sake of time, we're gonna move on a little bit. So, tell us real quickly about the next bike you got after the Thruxton. Was the BMW, I believe.
No, it was a
right?
Honda Grom.
Oh, it was the Grom. Okay,
Grom. I got
we
the
did the Grom
because it was just a fun toy.
It was fun to run around the
neighborhood,
wherever, and you did take it to the Deals Gap.
I did take it to the Deals Gap, and it didn't perform as
and it
good
got
as the other bikes.
It got the sticker though.
Yeah, I got the sticker. It took a little longer to go through.
And then you got the BMW,
the F800 GS. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was taking the Thruxton to get an oil change, and there was this. I always wanted like an adventure bike, so I just like the way they look.
Right.
So I walk in, and there's a 2016 F800 GS, and it normally they retail I think 16 or 17, and they wanted 13 for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, this is great. So I said,
this might be the one.
Yeah, this might be the one. I said, what's up with this bike? He's like, well, it's on hold for somebody. I was like, okay. So we're sitting there, and I'm talking to another guy. He said, you looking at a bike? I'm like, yeah, I was looking at that F800 GS. He's like, well, the person who has that bike on hold has 2 other bikes on hold, and they can't have 3 bikes on hold.
Oh yeah.
So she was So she was one. I think she had 2 750s and an F800, and she didn't know which one she wanted to buy for her and her husband because it was her husband.
So she put them all on hold.
She put them all on hold. Yeah.
Nice.
So the manager comes over and he goes, did you want that bike? I said, yeah, can I take it for a test ride? If I like it, I'll buy it. He was like, give it to that guy because she can't hold 3 bikes.
There you
go.
So
what happened was a guy that's 6'3" went to Louisville and thought if he bought an F800 GS, because it's the lower seat model,
yes,
that he would feel more comfortable. So he drove to Louisville, rode the bike back to Indianapolis.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it. The next day, rode it to the BMW dealership and traded for the 1200. So he rode. It only had another one. This one only had
a couple hundred miles.
Yeah,
Highway
320
miles.
miles. I think what it had.
Nice.
And he put everything on it: the handle, the crash bars, everything that the bags on it.
Yeah, he loaded up on everything.
Everything on it.
Nice.
He had everything done for it. So I got a really good deal on that one.
So what did you like about it?
It sits up really high. It's easy. It's really easy to ride. I mean, going in the corners, it feels like a bicycle because it's so light compared to the Thruxton. And I could go on longer rides and feel more comfortable because on the Thruxton, after a while, your back hurts.
There it is in this picture here. This is the only picture I have of that bike. That's the one, right?
Yeah, that's the one right there.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the picture right now, we've got my old 2017 Tail the Dragon bike that Tom McConnelly now owns. Keith's 380 GT, and then his brother's RD350, and then Diddy's. We call him the pack mule because
I carried
all
some bags. You had to carry everything.
I carried all the tools, all the cameras.
So
everyone's drinks.
To move on to the camera part of it, you also have another hobby that you really love, and that's photography.
Yeah,
and it's really actually kind of a little more than a hobby. It's you are a professional photographer.
Well, I don't consider myself professional.
We
people do.
We do.
Yeah. Well, I think the tale of that tape is that your work speaks for itself. And
yeah,
if you see what you've done, and you're going to see some things.
That's right.
You'll put it definitely in the middle of the professional category.
Yeah.
There's Roger Swartout. How you doing, Roger? Anyway, so let's move on to a little bit of that. We're going to show some pictures. This is some not more interesting, but extra interesting stuff about Diddy here with his photos. And of course, one of the first ones I have to show is me on the Dragon bike.
It's Steve.
It's me. Yeah. So this is at the Tail of the Dragon. That was a great time. There'll be a couple more pictures like that. I don't know whose this is, but this is a really nice shot of a CB 550.
I think we worked on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one of the ones you told me to photograph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's got the black background.
Yeah, I can't remember whose that was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
true.
The first time I went to your shop.
That's true.
Photograph it.
I can't remember who that. We've had so many bikes come through. Here's someone that we know. Kim and I both know Jan Bradley. This is his BMW.
Really nice
he inherited that bike from his brother.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful bike. We have a couple pictures of that. Here's another one of mine that I had Diddy come out and take a picture.
It's behind us.
So that we could put it in the Mecum auction. That's another story that you've already heard. So
it didn't help.
No, it didn't help at all.
Come
on, Diddy.
We don't blame you.
Do better, will you? This is a CT70 that you bought and had Keith Carlson transform.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Here's another great shot.
That's a great picture.
What a nice picture with the shadows in the sky there.
Yeah, I like just the way you've got the light capture behind the bike. You can't always take a good backlit shot, but that one's really good.
Yeah.
That's a great shot right
Now,
there.
did you? This is a technical question, but did you use flash to get that definition on the bike?
No. So when you take a picture, you measure the light. So if it's really bright and really dark, you got to go somewhere in between. So I measured the light from the gas tank, and that's how.
Okay, so you got all that detail,
Yeah.
and the rest of it was
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
taking care of itself.
Yeah.
That's what a professional does.
That's exactly right. See, I told you he's a pro. This is one of my old bikes. I don't own it anymore, but it's a Puch 250, and this was done actually in this garage with a background. And
That bike saw a lot of action.
that bike saw a lot of action. I don't think I have any pictures of that. There's another. I think I actually doubled that picture. Maybe not. No, we just showed it earlier. Where was this? Was this down in the
Deals Gap?
Deals Gap?
Yeah,
the museum.
Wheels Through Time.
Wheels Through Time.
Yeah.
It was in,
That
yeah.
place is really cool.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? A lot of us know this bike, Keith
Yeah.
Carlson, masterpiece. That's
Sold.
a RD 400.
Yeah.
This is Mike Reed. Mike Reed has a shop, and
Who came up with the idea about throwing the fire down on the ground?
So what we were like, I really wanted to do something interesting with fire, and they're like, well, we could spray brake fluid around the bike and then just light it on fire, and it'll go out in like a couple of seconds. I'm like, okay. So they took brake fluid and sprayed it all over the bike.
On the bike?
No, around,
Oh,
around the
around-
bike.
okay.
Yeah.
Around the bike. And he said, all right, ready? 1, 2, and then you lit it. And you just,
Boom. How many
Yeah.
pictures were you able to take?
I
in
think I
that time?
took a shot of 4 pictures.
Okay. So
And
was it
this
just
was-
a da-da-da-da?
Yeah, this was the one I liked because the flames were actually rising
They were
Yeah,
coming
those are
up.
cool.
before it went down. Yeah,
That
before-
is
It looks like a paint job.
yeah, it's
great
It's
idea.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys have been going to the steer-in for quite a long time, you'll probably have seen some bikes like this.
Is that Alan's?
This
it's
is
Alan's,
Alan's
yeah.
bike, and he would show up at the steer-in, and he always had a Smalley with some type of full-on modded out
Yeah,
craziness.
That's a CT70 in the beginning, but
Yes.
the engine's probably a 250 in Alan's bike. I don't know what it
Did
is.
he have some two-stroke
Yeah,
things
he-
too, like some crazy
really
modded
liked
out
those,
stuff?
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
and
anything.
he did some
else is
Grom
normal.
stuff. And,
Yeah,
and I think he also did what was before the Grom, the heat, not the Helix, but the
yeah, what's that ugly looking thing?
what's that?
The
What is
Honda,
that ugly thing?
Yeah, it looks.
Oh yeah, I know.
Do you remember what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about?
You-
I forget.
You guys will know what it
I'll
is.
think of it here
Yeah,
when the
me
show's
too.
over with. All right. Here's another shot. Now, who took this picture?
This is actually Keith Carlson.
Keith took
Wow,
this
he
picture
did a
with
good
your
job.
camera.
So I told him,
Wow, Keith.
I said,
Slow
I'm gonna ride the
shutter?
bike, and I want you to do what I want you to do is just when you see me coming down the road, just hold it to your eye and then just follow me as I'm going. And when I'm right in front of you, click on the camera. He's like, okay.
Wow.
And he did
That's
it.
about as
This
good
is-
as you can do.
Oh, he did a really good job.
yeah,
This
that's
is
really excellent.
one shot. I mean, he just did this one time. And I was like, all right,
A little
cool.
bit of a lean there too.
Yeah,
Not too
yeah.
bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
We actually, you may not know this, but we when you weren't around, we would brag about how the progression of your riding was very, very quick from beginning.
That's what Keith said.
from
Well,
beginning to the third or fourth time we went down to Deals Gap.
yeah. So
for sure.
like the first time that I went out with your bike, he's like, you're like the most easiest person to learn because you're leaning and you're not like breaking the bike and making it lean forward. And so yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, when you have a natural knack for it or ability for it, it helps quite a bit because some people just can't learn.
Well, following you guys, so like for a new person, following you or Keith is interesting because I could take your lane that you're on and I could just watch what you guys do. Like I could watch your brakes and I say, okay, this is where they're braking. So I kind of brake the same way. And then I watch you lean. So I lean the same way. So following you guys, I learned a lot.
Yeah, if you think
So-
that way, that's what I would do with I would follow Keith Carlson, even like on the motocross track.
Yeah.
If there's something I couldn't do, I would watch him, and I'm like, surely if that big tall oaf could do it, I can. But I would do that with like Steve Starr too. When you're following Steve Starr down Deals Gap, you want to try to want to try to copy and emulate what he's doing.
Yeah, he's
And,
no joke.
He is definitely no joke.
And I will say one thing about the motorcycle community is everyone is in to help each other. There's no like,
Hmm.
everyone's like we would go riding. I'm like, all right, what did you like? I would have you follow me. Like, what'd you think? Oh, this is, or do this differently or do this differently. Everyone's out to help each other. No one's,
Oh, absolutely.
no one's out to
Yeah.
like hurt each other. I mean, it's that's why I like the motorcycle community.
it's the love of the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Now, this is an old steer-in friend, Stackhouse, Patrick Stackhouse, and
I
he
love
would
this
ride
bike.
this bike out there. And he didn't have a kickstand. He'd just throw that 2x4, that
Yeah.
4x4 under there. I think it's two 2x4s. And he would carry that on the bike somewhere. And I mean, that thing is ratty as all get out, but it
it's
ran
cool as
great.
hell.
It
It's
leaked
so
oil
cool.
all over the place, too.
It's a young man's seat.
It sure is.
And that thing, it photographs so nice.
It does. It does.
Because it's beat.
Yeah.
Here's another Keith Carlson special.
So this is the first bike I ever photographed.
Really?
Yeah. So
nice.
So
Nice job.
Keith was building
Very
bikes.
nice.
I said, "Hey Keith, I got this camera because I was like taking pictures like trees and clouds, and I wanted to do more stuff, and I wanted to take photographs of motorcycles." I said, "Hey Keith, I know you just built this bike. Would it be okay if I came over and like just took photos of it?" He's like, "Yeah, come on over." So we kind of made it like a day, and
So did you backdrop that one with the cloth?
there's a black backdrop,
Okay.
but I had no idea how to set the lights.
Right.
So I think I was at his house for like 5 hours.
That's pretty good, though.
Just playing with moving the lights, figuring out how
Mhm.
to light the bike.
Yes.
And he was really patient with me. So I appreciate that.
So here would be two differences. This would be after you've done the lighting thing quite a bit. This was at my shop, which of course, had maybe different lighting than he did, but you brought your backdrop. You brought, I didn't know if you have different lights, but you knew more about the lighting. So this is actually one of Kim's bikes that he restored and put back together. And did you do some resto, like some modded stuff on this?
Yeah, that thing is not.
It's not
what
your
it was to
typical
begin
Galera.
with, right? And so it came out. It pleased a lot of people to see that bike because it's really an homage to other types of Italian motorcycles they built back in the day. The colors and the way it's built really fit into the idea.
I really like the colors on that bike.
Yeah, it came out good.
Now, if you've been around our local community at all, you'll know who this is. And we had Jenna on the show, so this is Jenna West. And
we're not worthy.
What bike? I can't tell what
It's
bike
a Tiger
that is.
X.
That's the Tiger.
Yeah, that's Tiger.
Which she doesn't own anymore. She's been through more bikes than
No, but
all of
she
us.
probably put 35,000 miles on that bike before she traded it.
Probably did. That's a great shot. Now, this wasn't for anything specific that she was doing at the time, or
Was that a Revit outfit?
It's Revit.
I'm sure that's a Revit outfit already. But
Yeah, it's the gloves, the jacket,
Yep.
The attitude.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think she wanted. I can't remember why she wanted photos. I think it was for promoting herself for.
Well, she's got a blog.
Yeah.
And does some writing, and then
she
became a Revit girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, model.
And then she's been she's sponsored sort of by Revit.
Yeah, she's been on a women's team that goes
that's
to
right,
rides and
And
shoots,
they're
and they
riding
fly them
KTMs
to
and they're
really
riding all
beautiful
kinds of crazy
places, and
stuff.
they
So-
put.
So yeah, we were out, and I was like, well, let me take, because I kind of like artistic stuff. So I don't like oh,
Right.
you're looking at the camera and you're on the bike. I just wanted something different.
Yeah,
So,
I like black and white too.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
I love
Yeah.
black and white's my
It
favorite.
turned out really nice. This
That's-
must have been a bike event, obviously.
This is the
Rockers
gentleman's
Reunion,
Rockers Reunion.
Is it
what
Rockers?
So-
Reunion? Okay.
My question to that photo is it edited or is that the way the light came out?
So I have a filter on my camera that makes it a Kodachrome,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what Kodachrome is.
It looks like an old
Yeah, it
school
looks like
film
an old
shot.
school film. And I shot at a high ISO so I could get some grain in the photo.
Mhm.
And I wanted it to look something like the 70s.
Yeah, be
Yeah, it
careful
does.
of your ISO, people.
Yeah.
You gotta watch your
Make sure your
ISO.
ISO is large.
Okay. We're gonna go a little long today because we've got a few more photos that I want to show.
Show 'em the
And
award
so,
winner.
Oh yeah. Well, we're almost there. So there's Jan's bike again. That's just a little close up of that super nice.
Most things look good in pictures, but that bike looks better in person.
Oh man, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's really beautiful.
So
It
I
is.
wanted to pick, when I was looking through your photos on Facebook, I wanted to pick one that was non-motorcycle
Mhm.
necessarily related. And the one that I thought was the coolest was this one right here. And then as soon as I showed Diddy that this was the picture I wanted to show, I liked the reflection on the mirror below or the table, and then the old school glasses. And then you told me you won a prize with that one.
Yeah, I entered in a portrait contest, and I got first place for this photo.
So
That's
what was
awesome.
going on in the reflection? What
So it's
is
a
that
mirror.
glass?
Yeah, it's a mirror on the table, and I have to have the backdrop super high because otherwise I get this color on my ceiling.
Oh yeah.
So it's a wide angle lens, which means a bigger field of view, and then I'm really low to the ground towards the camera, so I could get her and her reflection.
Yeah, the light's just perfect.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great shot. And you said something about her being a sushi chef.
She works at oh man, I can't remember. She's a sushi chef.
Somewhere.
Yeah, by Hooters.
Oh, it's around here somewhere, like
yeah,
around
in Castleton.
Okay.
Yeah, in Castleton.
Very, very cool.
That's handy. If you don't like sushi, you can go next door and get wings.
Yeah, yeah.
So several weeks ago, we went out to Mid-Ohio, and this is one of those years that you came out.
Yep.
This may have been my second year out. I know you and Keith had maybe come out before, but we got Joe, we got Hans, myself, Malcolm from Tasmania,
Malcolm
Keith,
Innes.
and then of course you're doing you're photobombing it
Yep.
because you're taking the selfie.
Is that the Grom on the left?
The Grom on the left. Yeah.
There's the Grom. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Yep. And then that's the
the
Pook,
Pook
and
and
then
the RV90.
Keith's RV90. Here's a great shot. There's many reasons this is such a great shot. Diddy. One is
Steve
because
again.
I'm in the front.
And who's behind you, Steve?
I think Keith, and then who's back
I
there?
think
Is
that's
that
his
you back?
bro-
No, you're taking the shot.
It's his brother and then his Keith's nephew.
Oh, nephew. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is the flat Earth bike. Keith's on his ripping
That's the blue RD.
RD400.
No,
I
no,
think.
that's the chrome
Isn't that
or
the
the
chrome?
polished
Yeah.
RD.
Yeah, that's the silver.
The-
I
The
nicknamed it the silver surfer.
CRRD. Yeah.
So that was fun. Deals Gap again, and then this is probably not world renowned, but could be
Yeah,
world
he's good
renowned.
enough to be
I mean,
world renowned.
Little Bill,
His skills
is,
are amazing.
Yeah.
is an amazing painter. He's local here in Indiana, and he does freehand pinstriping, and he's also
Lettering.
just an amazing painter.
Yeah.
But
This is at the there's a actually firehouse museum, and
Okay.
it's the people who put in the systems,
Yep.
fire
Oh,
extinguisher
yeah,
systems.
Yeah. Mhm.
They own, and they wanted him to do the lettering on this old fire truck. The place is amazing.
Yeah, so if you know Little Bill, send him a message, tell him we gave him a shout out. He's an amazing painter, and I forgot to even mention, but I'll mention it at the end.
Yeah, okay.
Usually I do an announcement at the beginning. Another Deals Gap photo. I showed this earlier, and then
Steve wearing a
and then-
parachute.
I'm wearing a parachute. I look so big in that thing. It's ridiculous. Anyway, really good times, and appreciate you coming down here. I did want to mention that September 11th, if you can make it, bring your camera down. September 11th commemorates 9/11.
Okay.
And we are having an open house at Hoy Vintage Cycles that day.
Okay.
So it's from like 10 or 11 to 4. We're going to roast a hog. We're going to have a slow race on the RV90, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And it's benefiting the Riley Children's Hospital. So we're gonna take donations for food. We probably should charge for food and then donate the money, but
Either way,
either way,
Yeah.
it doesn't
we'll
matter.
do it just like
You guys know. And then what's the other one we're supporting? It's the National First Responders Children.
Oh, okay.
So when September 11th happened back in 2000, I think there was a foundation started for the survivors of the first responders that died. So their children and their wives, and that has actually continued on across the nation. And so they still do that. First responders that die in the line of duty. This money will go toward their children to help them get through that. So anyways, remember September 11th this year at Hoy Vintage Cycles. We'll be posting about it. And I think that's about a wrap. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, let me toss out one more date. That's August 28th. That's a Saturday. That's Artemobilia in Carmel. And if you can make that one, it's a more target-rich environment.
Okay.
For
Tell
a
the
number of
date for
reasons.
that one again.
It's August 28th. It's Saturday, August 28th, and it's all day. They'll block off 6 blocks in every direction in downtown Carmel, and it's a great place to see. Hope the weather's good. Keep fingers crossed, and we'll see that.
And that's before, that's August, so that'll be the first one coming up. We'll have to set up a flyer for that and post that out.
Yeah,
there.
we will be responsible for the first large motorcycle display that's been there.
Oh,
So
cool.
it should be fun.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for sticking with us here, and
Thanks,
glad
guys.
to have Diddy on the channel, and you'll see some more photos of him or more of his photos
Yeah.
We might take some photos of you.
Yeah.
You need some more photos
Sure.
out there.
And my tip for the day is make sure your camera lens is clean.
Make sure it's clean and,
And
watch
wear-
out for the panda.
Wear your panda.
All right. Take care. We'll see y'all later.
All right, see you later, guys.